Good morning students, welcome in economics class. Today we are going to start unit 2 and chapter number 3. It's second unit's first chapter, but chapter number 3, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization. Liberalization, privatization and globalization. Have you ever studied these words? Do you remember? Class 10th chapter, globalization. Now the chapter 3 is liberalization, privatization and globalization. And appraisal. Here the word globalization, chapter 3 in economics in class 10, you have studied a little bit. Now we are going to study all the three components: LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization, and the word appraisal. Appraisal means merits and demerits, advantages and disadvantages, merits and demerits. Now in this chapter we are going to study about the merits, demerits, historical background of this chapter, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization. In this chapter there are three words in short form. These are called LPG. L stands for liberalization, P stands for privatization and G stands for globalization. This is related with our new economic policy, that is called NEP. New economic policy is related with the introduction of liberalization, privatization and globalization in the Indian economy in 1991. Clear, students? Now, this new economic policy was introduced in 1991. What were the factors that were responsible? That's why we have to start this new economic policy in the country. We are going to study first the historical background of this new economic policy. In chapter 1 and 2 we have studied that what kind of economy we have got from the Britishers. What were the policies and strategies have adopted by the government for the upliftment of the economy so that the stagnation, backwardness of the economy can be broken. For this, in our country, inward-looking trade strategy was followed. That is called IWM, or import substitution policy. This we have done in chapter 2 already we have done. Under that policy, on imports, lot of restrictions were imposed by the government, either in the form of tariff restrictions or quota restrictions. So more focus was given in the growth of the industrial sector within the economy, and import was discouraged in the country. So from 1950 to 1990s we have followed this IWL policy. So what suddenly happened in our country? We realized for this introduction of new economic policy. There are certain reasons. First is, we are writing reasons or factors responsible for the introduction of new economic policy. There are so many factors. First factor is, that is inefficient management of the economy. Inefficient management of the economy. Inefficient management of the economy. Management of the economy refers to, that is how the economy is maintained related to its revenue and expenditure. Inefficient shows the weakness of our country or the economy, that our policymakers, our economists, our country was unable to manage the economy. Economy is managed with revenue and expenditure. There are mainly two sources of revenue of the government in our country, that is revenue sources of the government is, that is from taxation, and second is revenue from public sector undertakings or PSCs, that is public sector enterprises. Now, the taxation refers to the income collected or revenue collected by the government from the taxes. But in our country, tax paying capacity of the economy was less because we have got economy that was backward, stagnated economy. Industrial sector was at infant stage and there was a backwardness of the agriculture sector also. Second source of the revenue is PSUs or public sector enterprises. Public sector enterprises are those enterprises which are owned, managed and governed by the government, like BSNL, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited, railways and so many more enterprises when in 1990s in our country. Then these enterprises we have done in chapter 2, that is bad impacts of IWL. These public sector undertakings or public sector enterprises have become house of pilferage, corruption and has become burden for the government. These were inefficiently managed. They were showing losses. No party has dared to do the disinvestment of these public sector enterprises. So the sources of the revenue of the government was less, but expenditure was more. So the economy was unable to manage in the era of 1980s. So this was the first reason. Second point is fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit. Whenever the word fiscal comes in economics, it means revenue and expenditure of the government. Whenever the word fiscal comes, it means revenue and expenditure of the government. Deficit means, I am explaining, like fiscal deficit. Whenever the word fiscal comes, revenue and expenditure of the government, and fiscal deficit means when, this is the second point, if the government expenditure is equal to government receipts, that is called balanced situation. That is called balanced situation. If the government expenditure is greater than government receipts, that is called deficit situation. And if government expenditure is less than government receipts, that is government expenditure is greater than government receipts and government expenditure is less than government receipts, this is called surplus situation. That is hardly found in our country. Most of the time the government's budget is deficit. Fiscal deficit situation is there in the economy when the government expenditure is more than government receipts. For example, government expenditure is 800 crore rupees and government receipts is 600 crore. Then there is a deficiency in the government's budget is that is of 200 crore rupees. Now, where from the government will generate this 200 crore rupees? There are two options in front of the government. One is borrow from internal sources. What are those internal sources? That is RBI, general public, and in case of external sources there is developed countries, government of the developed countries, government of developed countries, and international institutions like IMF, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, etc. So, government's budget was deficit, government's expenditure was more than its receipts. Now the question comes, why the government expenditure was more than its receipts? India is still a developing country. in 1980s, hardly 40 years passed after independence, and more investment was done in the public sector by the government for the upliftment of the economy. And whatever the investment was done by the government in public sector undertakings, results were not as per the expectations. Then there were so many problems like the problem of poverty, problem of unemployment that the government was facing, problem of population explosion, rising population. So under these problems, the development expenditure of the government was increasing. Development expenditure of the government was increasing. Due to increased development expenditure and less sources of revenue, the deficit budget of the government was there. So the government has to borrow from international institutions also or from internal sources. But internal sources was less as there was a less capacity in the Indian economy at that time. Next point is, third point is inflation. Have you heard this word? I am sure you have done in class 11th. Inflation means continued rise in general price level of the country. Continued rise in general price level of the country or economy. General price level doesn't mean that if the prices of one or two goods are declining, then inflation is not there in the economy. If the prices of one or two goods are declining, but still overall price level in the economy is increasing, that is called inflation. And not only for a that is less time period, small time period, there should be continuous rise in general price level, that is termed as inflation. Up to some extent inflation is required for the growth of the economy, like 3 to 4% inflation is there. It's acceptable, that is required for the growth of the economy. But inflation becomes beyond the control of the government, then it's a very dangerous situation of the economy. Its bad impacts are there, that the people of fixed income salaries, fixed income, their standard goes down, then expenditure increases, prices are increasing, prices in the international market are also increasing, expenditure of the government also starts rising, and already the government was facing the situation of fiscal deficit. And in our country at the end of 1980s, there was a situation of 16.7% inflation in the country that was beyond the control of the government. So it also triggers the situation that we were already facing, fiscal deficit and inefficient management. Next point is, that is BOP imbalance. BOP imbalance. Now this term is the new for you, that is BOP. BOP stands for balance of payment. Balance of payment. Now what is this balance of payment? Balance of payment is a systematic record of economic transactions. Economic transactions, as like in the family, we maintain our economic transactions, like I earn this much salary, this much I spend on consumption purpose, saving purpose, then we maintain a record as an individual. In the same way, government also maintains its record, that is balance of payment. In this record, the government records its transactions with rest of the world or external sector, other countries. And what kind of dealings we are having with other countries? That is export and import. Now, balance of payment is a systematic record of economic transactions of one country with rest of the world. This balance of payment includes mainly four things. One is that is sale and export and import of goods. Whatever we export to rest of the world, whatever we import from rest of the world. Export and import of services. What kind of services we export or give to the rest of the world, and what kind of services we receive from rest of the world. And third thing is sale and purchase of financial assets like shares, bonds, etc. And sale and purchase of real assets like lands, buildings. Either we purchase in rest of the world or the foreign companies or the foreign government purchase in our country. This includes the record of these four things. Mainly it is termed as export and import. Now if export is equal to import, that is called BOP's balance situation. If export is less than import, that is called BOP imbalance, and that is called deficit. And if export is greater than import, that is called surplus. When we got independence, India was used to import even food grains. So our country's imports are always less than exports till 1980s. Mainly the imports of petroleum products, crude oil, etc. So imports of our country is more than exports. So our balance of payment is deficit. Now this import bill is cleared in USA dollars. Import bill is cleared in USA dollars. Now, in 1980s, when we were paying to rest of the world in the form of dollars, so our import bill was quite high and we didn't have sufficient foreign exchange, that is dollar, in our country. So this also increased the situation of political, that is economic instability in the country. Next, fifth point is, that is inflation, fiscal deficit, inefficient management of the country. Then the fifth point is, that is declining foreign exchange reserves. Declining foreign exchange reserves. Forex stands for foreign exchange reserves. By a country's foreign exchange reserve refers to the currencies of different countries of the world with the government of India, like England pound, Canadian dollar, USA dollar, that we earn through exports, that is kept in the treasury of the government, and this we need to clear our import bill. Then our country's foreign exchange reserves were dwindling or declining because our imports were increasing. So the situation in 1990s was like that. In our government was not in a capacity to clear its import bill after 1 week. So our Indian economy, which is mainly dependent on imports, particularly for petroleum products and oil, if we would not be able to clear our import bill after 1 week, then our economy will be completely collapsed. So to avoid this situation, India took loan from World Bank. World Bank's other name is IBRD, that is Industrial Bank for Reconstruction and Development. That was the loan of the government has taken, that is 7 billion USA dollars. Now World Bank was ready to give this loan, but this was a tied loan, conditional loan. The World Bank has compelled or forced India to start new economic policy, that is called liberalization, privatization and globalization in our country. So we have started this policy, liberalization, privatization and globalization, not happily but with the pressure of international institutions and due to the bad situation of the economy. Clear, students? Now, what were the factors responsible for the introduction of new economic policy?